He stood in the middle of the empty lot where his father once trained him with a broken bench press and a rusted bar. Now, Dwayne Johnson was back, not to lift weights, but to lift lives. Could he rebuild hope where it had crumbled? Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, shimmered under a relentless July sun, its cracked sidewalks and faded storefronts whispering of forgotten dreams. At 49, Dwayne carried the weight of his youth here, a kid shaped by sweat, grit, and his father's voice. Would those memories guide him now? Rocky Johnson, a wrestler who'd fought for every dime, used to drill him here, saying, "Muscles fade, but strength of heart stays." Those words burned in Dwayne's chest as he kicked at the dry earth, dust swirling like ghosts of his past. The news had struck like a sucker punch a month ago. Bethlehem's last veteran wellness center had closed. How could a town abandon its heroes? Budget cuts had left men and women who'd served their country with nowhere to go, no place to ease aching joints or quiet haunted minds. Dwayne walked the streets of his childhood, passing the diner where he and his dad shared thick chocolate milkshakes, the old gym where he'd first gripped the dumbbell, his hands trembling under its weight. Could he bring that strength back to others? Neighbors waved, some with warmth, others with raised eyebrows. "The Rock's back," they murmured, some skeptical, some starstruck. To them, he wasn't a Hollywood titan, just Dwayne, the kid who'd left and made it big. At the VFW hall, he met the veterans, their faces etched with time and sacrifice. Would they trust him to help? Carla, a Gulf War medic, spoke softly of knees that no longer let her run, her voice heavy with loss. Mike, a Vietnam sniper, sat in the corner, hands shaking too much to hold a coffee cup, let alone a barbell. Had the world forgotten their courage? They talked of the wellness center's closure like a death in the family. No more group therapy, no more treadmill talks where stories of war and survival flowed. Just silence. Dwayne listened, his jaw tight, seeing his father in their weathered eyes, tough, proud, but worn by time. Could he give them a place to heal? He drove to the lot that evening, alone, the sky bruising purple. The patch of earth was overgrown, weeds choking the ground where his father's bench press once stood. Was this where it all began? Broken glass glinted in the dirt, and a sagging chain-link fence groaned in the breeze. Dwayne stood where he'd once lifted weights under Rocky's watchful eye, hearing his father's gravelly laugh, feeling those calloused hands steady the bar. Could this ground hold new dreams? The veteran's words echoed, nowhere to go, nowhere to rebuild. He crouched, fingers brushing the earth, and whispered, "Let's build something that matters." Would this lot become their sanctuary? Dwayne didn't wait for applause or approval. He poured his own money into the project, buying the Bethlehem lot with cash, hiring local contractors, and sketching plans for a gym that would be more than steel and concrete. Could he prove this wasn't just a stunt? The town buzzed with whispers. Some called it a Hollywood flex, a shiny PR move to polish his image. The Rock's chasing headlines, a barber grumbled, snipping hair in a shop where Dwayne once got his fade. Would skeptics see his heart? Veterans, too, kept their distance, their eyes guarded, burned by too many broken promises. But Dwayne showed up every dawn. No cameras, no entourage, just a man in a faded t-shirt, ready to work. Could his presence change their minds? He shook hands with workers, hauled bricks alongside them, and shared stories of his father, Rocky, whose wrestling dreams were built on grit, not glory. Would his father's lessons guide him now? The lot transformed slowly, concrete slabs hardened, steel beams rose like sentinels, and a sign went up, Johnson's Heroes Gym. Locals watched, some softening, others still scoffing. Dwayne didn't care. He saw the veterans' faces at the VFW, Carla's quiet pain, Mike's trembling hands, and knew this was for them. Could he rebuild their trust? One veteran, Sergeant Ray Martinez, 62, a Desert Storm hero with a limp and a heart heavy with loss, lingered daily by the site. His broad shoulders sagged, his eyes distant. Dwayne noticed him, tossing him a hard hat one morning. "Ever lift?" he asked, voice warm but direct. Would Ray take a chance? Ray snorted, kicking dirt. "Used to. Not anymore. Body's too broken." Dwayne nodded, no pressure, just a smile. "Start where you are," he said, echoing his father's words. Could Ray find strength again? Ray kept returning, watching the gym rise, his skepticism softening as Dwayne shared coffee and stories of Rocky's mantra, strength of heart over muscle. Would those words reach Ray's soul? The crew worked tirelessly, walls climbing higher, windows catching the sun. But trouble brewed. Harold Vance, a city official with a clipboard and a scowl, blocked permits, citing zoning laws. "This lot's for commercial use, not charity," he snapped at a meeting, his voice cold as the city hall tiles. Could bureaucracy kill their dream? Dwayne faced him, calm but unyielding, his broad frame filling the room. "Those veterans served you, Harold. They deserve a place to heal." Vance shuffled papers, unmoved, his rules a fortress. Would Dwayne break through? Whispers spread through Bethlehem. The gym might stall, permits tangled in red tape. Could doubt derail their hope? Dwayne doubled down, rallying contractors, meeting veterans at the VFW, listening to their stories of war and survival. He sat with Ray one night, steam rising from their coffees. "This gym's not just bricks," Dwayne said, his voice low. "I steady. It's a promise to you, to them, to my dad." Would Ray believe him? Ray looked away, his fingers tracing the rim of his cup, but a flicker of hope sparked in his eyes. The gym's frame stood tall against the skyline, a symbol of something growing, something real. Could it become their home? Dwayne fought the city's bureaucracy like a wrestler facing a relentless opponent, calculated, unyielding, fierce. Could he outlast the red tape strangling their dream? Harold Vance's zoning blockade loomed, permits locked in his desk like hostages. Dwayne didn't flinch. He hired sharp lawyers, called old friends in high places, and stood toe-to-toe with officials in Bethlehem's sterile city hall. Would his resolve break their walls? Days bled into weeks, each meeting a battle, but Dwayne's voice never wavered. These veterans deserve this gym. His eyes burned with purpose, channeling his father's grit. Could Rocky's lessons win this fight? Finally, permits trickled through, grudgingly signed, and the gym's construction surged forward. Walls up, floors polished, hope rising. Was this the turning point they needed? The gym opened in phases, a beacon in Bethlehem's weary heart. First came the weight room, racks gleaming under fluorescent lights. Could steel and sweat heal broken spirits? Veterans arrived, hesitant at first. Carla, the Gulf War medic, stepped onto a treadmill, her first run in years, her knees protesting but her smile defiant. Was she reclaiming her strength? Mike, the Vietnam sniper, gripped light dumbbells, his trembling hands steadier with each lift, his eyes brighter. Could he find peace in the grind? Then came Ray Martinez, the Desert Storm vet, limping but curious, drawn by Dwayne's quiet persistence. "Start small," Dwayne said, spotting Ray's shaky bench press. Would Ray trust the bar and himself? Ray pushed, muscles quivering, and a grin cracked his weathered face, raw and real. Was this the spark of hope? The gym became a sanctuary, not just for weights but for souls. Could a building hold such power? Veterans lingered after workouts, sipping protein shakes, swapping stories of battles fought and scars earned. Laughter echoed, tears fell, therapy unfolded without a couch. Was this healing in motion? Dwayne was there daily, not as The Rock, but as a neighbor, a son honoring his father's mantra, strength of heart. He mentored Ray, sitting late under the gym's humming lights, listening to his stories, sleepless nights, ghosts of war that wouldn't fade. Could Dwayne help Ray carry that weight? "This place feels like home," Ray admitted one night, voice rough, eyes wet. Dwayne nodded, his own throat tight. Was this what his father meant? Word spread beyond Bethlehem. Johnson's Heroes Gym wasn't just a gym, it was salvation. Could it change lives far and wide? Veterans from neighboring towns came, drawn by stories of a place where pain met purpose. Dwayne planned a quiet opening ceremony. No press, just veterans, locals, and folding chairs under a tent. Would the community embrace this moment? Ray volunteered to speak, his hands shaking as he scribbled a speech about the gym pulling him from darkness. Could he find the courage to share? The night before, he practiced, voice cracking, heart open. But dawn brought a shock. Dwayne was gone. His truck wasn't at the site. No calls, no texts. Had he abandoned them at the finish line? Veterans gathered, whispers rippling, Ray clutching his speech, eyes searching the lot. Where was the man who'd built their hope? Dwayne hadn't abandoned them. Where had he gone at such a crucial moment? While Bethlehem buzzed with worry, he'd driven 3 hours to Allentown, chasing a promise. Maria Delgado, widow of Sergeant Tom Delgado, a Vietnam vet whose letters about brotherhood had inspired the gym's name, lived alone, her home a shrine to a hero gone too soon. Could Dwayne honor Tom's legacy? Maria, frail but with eyes warm as a summer dawn, hadn't seen Tom's comrades in years. Dwayne sat with her, sharing stories of the gym, of veterans finding light in sweat and laughter. Would she see Tom in this place? He gently asked her to come to the opening, to see what her husband's memory had built. She hesitated, then nodded, her hand trembling in his. Was this the closure she needed? They arrived at Johnson's Heroes Gym, now Delgado's haven, as the ceremony began. Could a name carry such weight? Veterans filled the tent, their faces a mix of pride and uncertainty, still shaken by Dwayne's absence. Carla stood tall, her limp softer after weeks of training. Mike's hands, once unsteady, now held a program steady. Had the gym already changed them? Ray Martinez, clutching his speech, scanned the crowd, his heart pounding. Dwayne slipped in quietly, Maria on his arm, unnoticed in the back. Would his return spark hope? Veterans spotted Maria, gasps rippling through the crowd. They rushed to her, embracing her like family, tears falling as they whispered Tom's name. Was this the brotherhood Tom wrote of? Ray took the stage, his voice raw, unsteady, but fierce. Could he speak their truth? I was lost, he said, eyes glistening, haunted by war, by silence. This gym, it's a home for the forgotten. Dwayne gave us that. Had Ray found his voice at last? The crowd erupted, veterans hugging, locals wiping eyes, the air thick with gratitude. Maria's smile trembled as she squeezed Dwayne's hand, whispering, Tom would have loved this. Was her heart healing too? Dwayne stayed in the shadows, his broad frame still, his smile soft but proud. He didn't speak, didn't need to. Could silence say more than words? Delgado's haven thrived in the weeks that followed. Would its light keep growing? Veterans trained daily, their laughter louder, their steps sure. Carla ran faster, Mike lifted heavier, and Ray, once broken, mentored new faces, his limp barely noticeable. Had they reclaimed their strength? Dwayne visited when he could, slipping in quietly, listening to their stories, his father's mantra echoing in every rep, strength of heart. The town's skepticism faded. Bethlehem embraced the gym as its own. Could a community be rebuilt too? They called him a rock, but what he built was a foundation, a place where heroes, forgotten by time, stood tall again. Would this legacy outlast them all? Dwayne hadn't vanished. He'd chased a promise to honor a hero. Could one man's memory unite them all? While Bethlehem's veterans gathered, hearts heavy with his absence, Dwayne drove 3 hours to Allentown to find Maria Delgado, widow of Sergeant Tom Delgado, whose Vietnam letters about brotherhood had christened the gym's soul. Would Maria see her husband's spirit in this place? Her home was quiet, walls lined with faded photos of Tom's smile, his medals gleaming like stars. Frail but radiant, Maria listened as Dwayne spoke of Delgado's haven, a gym built not for fame, but for healing. Could she carry Tom's legacy forward? Her eyes misted, but she agreed to come, her hand steady in his as they drove back. Was this the final piece of the puzzle? At the ceremony, the tent buzzed with veterans and locals, their hope tinged with unease. Had Dwayne left them at their moment of triumph? Carla stood prouder, her Gulf War scars softened by weeks of treadmill strides. Mike, the Vietnam sniper, gripped his chair, hands calm, his heart lifted by new strength. Could this gym mend their past? Ray Martinez, clutching his speech, paced nervously, his Desert Storm ghost quieter now. Dwayne slipped in, Maria on his arm, unnoticed in the crowd's hum. Would his return ignite their faith? Veterans spotted Maria, and time stopped, embraces, tears, and whispers of Tom wove them together. Was this the family they'd lost? Ray stepped to the mic, his voice cracking but fierce. Could he speak for the forgotten? I was broken, he said, tears spilling, lost in war shadow. This gym, Dwayne's promise, gave me a home. It's Delgado's haven, for us, the forgotten. Had Ray found his purpose? The crowd roared, veterans hugging, locals sobbing, the air electric with gratitude. Maria, eyes shining, squeezed Dwayne's hand. Tom's here, she whispered. Was his spirit alive in their joy? Dwayne stood in the back, silent, his smile a quiet anchor, no need for words. Could one man's heart build so much? Delgado's haven became Bethlehem's heartbeat. Would its light shine forever? Veterans trained, laughed, healed. Carla ran marathons. Mike lifted with steady hands. Ray mentored newcomers, his limp a badge of survival. Had they risen stronger than ever? Dwayne visited quietly, his father's mantra, strength of heart, echoing in every rep, every story shared. Bethlehem's doubts dissolved. The gym was their pride. Could a community find its soul again? They called him a rock, but Dwayne built a foundation, proving that true strength lifts others, not just weights. What legacy will you leave? The world is full of heroes waiting for their haven. Will you help build one? Share this story, subscribe for more tales of heart and grit, and leave a comment. Tell us how you'd honor the forgotten. Your voice can spark change. Like this story? Hit that like button to keep their legacy alive.